Are you sick of having problems that seem impossible to solve? Would you like to know how to solve 94% of your daily problems in a simple and effective way? Today, we're diving into Stoic wisdom to share 70 powerful lessons aimed at helping you deal with life's ups and downs. These aren't just tips, they're insights that can clear up confusion and help you face challenges confidently. Looking for calm in the chaos, strength in tough times, or just want to make your life richer, you're in the right spot. Stick with us till the end, as each lesson connects to the next, offering not only solutions, but also a better understanding of life's beauty and its hurdles. Let's explore these lessons together, making our plans stronger and our lives better with Stoic wisdom that lasts. First, let's be honest. You might not make a lot of friends this way, but you will always have the right ones. It doesn't matter what other people think of you, because they are only thinking about themselves. You lose time every time you think about how your life is different from someone else's. Don't get too close to anyone. People change, and one day your best friends could be strangers. You should be happy and pleased with yourself. If you need other people to make you happy, it will make you weak. Share your success instead of your goals, and that will keep you going. Don't be afraid to be by yourself. It's better than being with average people. People who need from you the least are the ones who ask for it the most. Pay attention to your duties, but not to yourself. You shouldn't let fear stop you. Instead, let it show that you care and are interested. Don't base long-term choices on short-term feelings. She will look down on you if you put her high up. People give you advice based on how they see things. Not everything you feel like saying. When you have to lie about something, don't do it. Because light moves faster than sound, some people look bright until you hear them talk. You are already happy, so don't look for it. You don't owe your younger self anything, but you do owe your present self everything. Self-care means understanding that the thing that is holding you back is you. Many times your parents were right, even though they weren't very smart. If someone gives you advice, don't insult them. Instead, act like you've been through it before. Everything is messed up when you think about it too much. It makes you worry about pointless questions and makes things seem much worse than they really are. Before you get mad about something, ask yourself if you'll still remember it in 10 years. Take care of your body, because you only have one. It's yours for life, and even though it's very tough, it can only give you what you give it. Someone is lying if they say over and over that they are saying the truth. Everything you have is up to you and what you do with the time you're given. If you play your real self, you'll never mess up a part. Don't measure the low points of your life against the high points of someone else's. You don't need someone back in your life just because you miss them. Missing them is a part of getting over them. The first time you date someone based on how they look, you enjoy it. That is, until you learn that your kids will be raised based on their ideals, not how they look. You have to give up something to get something else. There are people who say nice things about you behind your back, but mean things to your face. Find those people. It's hard to let go, but it's the right thing to do. You will become less afraid as you gain more wins over your fears. Don't put someone ahead of you just so you have a choice. You are against yourself if you are friendly to everyone. You were born with 2 ears and 1 mouth. Make good use of them. You need to accept change more than anything else. Not only do you live once, you live many lives at once. When we can find the good in other people, life is easier and more beautiful. There's nothing you can do to stop spring from coming. Do not listen to what other people say. What they do will tell you much more than what they say. Through everything you do, you're putting together pieces that will help you understand why you did what you did years from now. Making a commitment gets you going, sticking with it gets you somewhere, and never giving up is what keeps you moving forward. You can love someone more than once. If someone you love breaks up with you, don't stress too much. It's meant to be. If someone tries to bring you down, it just means you're better than them. When you promise something, don't break it. It might not mean anything to you, but it might to someone else. It's like putting on dirty clothes again after taking a shower when you get back together with your ex. While you should think, fail, and learn like an artist, keep an open mind and act like one. Your purpose is not found somewhere else. It is something you make and give value to right where you are. Everything in your life can change at any time, so don't just take what you have for granted. Be thankful for it and use it for good. When you want new experiences over things, you become wealthy. Thoughts are less clear than actions. You can't just think your way into a new life. You have to do something. What you experience in life is just a mirror of how you think. There will be pain on your path to happiness until you understand that it is the way. You only have the present moment and what you do with it. You should be smart enough to ask for help and also know where to look for it. Let go of your ego if you can let go of anything else in your life. You will see more beauty, feel more giving, and be happy if you are thankful. Some bad things will stay in your mind, but you won't think about them as much. You shouldn't worry too much about it until then. It's not about how many tools you have that determines your success. It's about how well you use the ones you do have. Fear holds most people back their whole lives and affects every choice they make. Do everything you can to tame it and beat it. When you do, be happy. Without the guts to lose sight of the shore, you can't swim to new places. It's never too late to do what you would like to do. Negative people may just be putting their own fears onto you, so don't let them get you down. You cannot change what took place, even if it was your mistake or someone else's. Deal with it. Don't get mad about it. You need to protect yourself from this noise by building a shield against it. Other people will always cast their fears and limited beliefs onto you. Don't tell anyone about your past, because only you know what it really means and how it happened. Other people might not understand or even use it against you. If you try, tomorrow might be very different from today. I promise that tomorrow will not work for you if you keep crying about what is wrong today. The world will try to tell you who you are, but you won't be able to hear it if you don't take time to think and listen. Things will not go as planned in your life, and that's a good thing. I remember being by myself and feeling like I had reached rock bottom. But it was during that hard time that I met people who taught me things that helped me get through it. You might need these lessons right now. People don't support or oppose you. They only care about themselves. The future is better than the past. There are times when you just need to walk away from people and let relationships end. Your real friends will be there for you when you're at your worst. You are the only way out. There is no doubt that you are better than you think. You have made it through every bad day of your life and have never lost. You are the only one who can take care of you. Nothing is as hard as you think it is once you face your fear. Miracles do happen when things are hard. If you think you can do it, you'll get halfway there. People you meet don't always mean what they say they will do. The days you need to do something the most are the ones you don't want to. You are only in charge of how you think, feel, and act. You should not try to change other people because it rarely works. Problems often make normal people ready for amazing events to happen in their lives. People who believe in the beauty of their dreams will have a bright future. Sometimes the only way to find our way is to let the wind of change carry us. For no one should you give up your growth. Pain is unavoidable, but misery is not. You're smarter, braver, and stronger than you think. Believe in yourself. You've made it through a lot, and you will make it through anything. When being strong is your only choice, you never know how strong you really are. There is no danger in change. It is an invitation to live. Either we hate ourselves or we love ourselves. It takes the same amount of work. Only expect good things from yourself. Life isn't always fair. People who cheat and lie often get ahead, But you have to keep fighting, hoping and praying no matter how bad things look. You pick new paths and work hard, but you don't change things. Don't expect cheap people to be honest. It costs a lot to give. You know you haven't been waiting long when your patience pays off. Before you can love other people, you have to love yourself. Things that hurt us are meant to teach us a lesson, not just to hurt us. Being experienced makes you smarter, and being smarter makes you more experienced. Do not let the things that happened in the past limit what you can do in the future. Don't worry. What you think you can't do in life is the only thing that stops you. We should not wish the problem wasn't there. We should face it. You can't just let go once. You have to do it every day, over and over again. Beautiful places are always reached by tough roads. You have to decide whether to turn the page and start writing another book, or you can just close it. You won't be the same person when you get out of the storm. Being brave is the most important virtue because you can't constantly show any other virtues if you don't have guts. Most people will give you only half a chance. You drown when you stay in the water too long, not when you fall in. Even though there are risks in life, there is one big risk you must never take: the risk of doing nothing. You'll need a different pitch for each new level of your life. Have hope and take the first step. Just take the first step. You don't need to see the whole ladder. Do not let anyone tell you that what you want is not yours. Life's biggest risk is that you might be too careful. Learning how to fall is the most important thing in life. Bad days make good days better. You shouldn't have time to judge other people if you're busy making yourself better. There are times when people make their lives even more difficult than they already are. Sometimes people don't wish you well, which is a hard lesson to learn. There is no such thing as happy or unhappy in this world. There is only moving from one state to another. A man can only be truly happy after having experienced the depths of sorrow. Sometimes bad things happen for a reason. We have to go through them to get stronger and smarter. It's not useful to practice events in your head because the real world will never be like anything you can make up in your mind. People will come and go from your life, and the ones you least expect will become memories of a short time you thought would last forever. Being able to forgive quickly is one of the most important things we can learn in life. To enjoy life, you need a bit of foolishness. To avoid getting into trouble, you need a bit of knowledge. It's not hard times that make heroes, but hard times that bring out the hero in all of us. Happiness isn't not having any troubles. It's being able to handle them. We all need to be brave enough to leave our past behind and live our dreams. You have to change for things to change in your life. You think you know someone, but really all you know is what you want to know. It took me a long time to learn that you have to give something back to life in order to get what you want. Focus your attention on what you can make instead of thinking about what you can't change. When you stop whining and making excuses and start making changes, you are an adult. Sometimes you have to wait to figure things out. Some farewells set you free. You are only meant to be the person you choose to be. People who have a strong sense of purpose in life don't need to be pushed. Their desire will do that for them. When we understand that we don't need to know everything or act like we do, our lives get better. Be the person who makes someone smile, makes them feel loved, and gives them faith that people are good. It's always possible to start over. When you are persistent, your actions can sometimes have bad results. You can't always be happy if you hold on to too much of yourself. Getting stuck doesn't mean you have to give up. If you hit a wall, keep going. Figure out how to go up, around, or through it. Sometimes you get what you need when you try. Making up your mind to move is the first thing that needs to be done to get somewhere. Sometimes it's hard to know which bridges to burn and which ones to cross. The lessons will come when you're ready if you just pay attention. It's better for your health and happiness to deal with your feelings instead of avoiding or pushing them down. Do what you think is right and stand up for it. When you are by yourself, watch what you think, and when you are with other people, watch what you say. People will live your life for you if you don't. As you work toward your goals, be thankful for what you already have. Living shows us that hoping for something doesn't make it happen. It's better to be alone sometimes, no matter how hard you try to fit in. Don't rush. Every trip ends with a day. Someone else's door opens when the first one shuts, but we often look at the closed door for so long that we miss the new one that has opened. Even when other people are trying to talk you out of it, always go with your gut. Don't think too much about other people, because they might leave at any time. When they're gone, you don't know how much they mean to you. When you face a real struggle, don't give up. They teach you the most important lessons in life. You are the only person who can be both your best friend and worst enemy at the same time, and you can pick which one to be. You can't change how other people act, but you can always choose how to react to it. Do not cry because it is over. Instead, smile because it happened. To understand who you are, you need to lose things from time to time. People only get better with age if they are ready to learn and understand the lessons that life gives them when things go wrong. Our resilience is greater than we ever thought, as hard times teach us. You are the only one who can speak up for yourself. There are times when you just can't help someone change for the better. If you keep trying, you'll reach a point where you give up because they don't want to change. Your life is made up of the decisions you make. There is no plan, just the results of those decisions. Be careful when you do good things. Being kind has its limits, and some people may take advantage of your kindness. You have the power to turn your problems into strengths and become the hero of your story. Time with people you love is the most valuable thing in the world. We often forget that being happy doesn't mean getting something we don't have. It means noticing and being grateful for what we do have. What you understand is what you have to do to help yourself. No one else can help you. You have to do it yourself. You will feel more in charge of your life once you realize this. Nothing that is going to happen will change, no matter how afraid you are. The happiness in your life rests on the thoughts you have. There is something I believe is a better test of a well-ordered mind than a man's ability to stay put and be alone for a while. Being able to pick one thought over another is the best way to deal with stress. I only speak up when I'm sure that what I have to say is important and should be said. It looks like all of the Hellenistic groups agree on how to describe wisdom as a state of complete peace of mind first and foremost. By looking at it this way, philosophy seems like a way to fix the problems that people are having, like the cynics with social rules and norms, the Epicureans with seeking false pleasures, the Stoics with seeking pleasure and self-interest, and the skeptics with false beliefs. No matter if they claimed to be related to Socrates or not, all Hellenistic thinkers agreed with him that people are unhappy, distressed, and bad because they don't know any better. There is no evil in things themselves. The evil comes from how people judge those things. Because of this, the only way to heal people is to get them to change their values. This is how all of these theories were meant to help. Your three most valuable traits are simplicity, patience, and kindness. You return to the source of being by being simple in your deeds and thinking. You get used to the way things are and are patient with both friends and foes. You make peace with all living things in the world by being kind to yourself. The bees can't get what's bad for the hive. Commitment to justice in your own deeds, which means acting in a way that helps everyone. What you were born to do. Men care more about how long they live than how noble they are. Everyone has the power to live a good life, but not everyone has the power to live a long life. If someone is running a race, they should do everything they can to win, but it is totally unacceptable for them to trip over or push their rival away. Therefore, It is not unfair to seek for oneself that which can help him in life, but it is not fair to take it away from another. For people, evil is unfairness, cruelty, and not caring about other people's problems. Virtue, on the other hand, is brotherly love, kindness, justice, beneficence, and caring about your neighbor's well-being. The brave don't care about any of these dangers, whether they are at home or in exile. That's why they have the guts to say what they think. Also, philosophy doesn't promise to get a person anything outside of themselves, because if it did, it would be accepting something that isn't its proper matter. Just like a carpenter's proper matter is wood, and a sculptor's proper matter is bronze, so is the proper matter of the art of living each person's life. There are different kinds of chains that connect us to luck. One is made of gold and is wide, while the other is small and rusty. But does it really matter? We are all locked up in the same jail, and people who have locked up others are also locked up. That is, unless you think the chain on the left is lighter. Honors bind a man, wealth binds a nobleman, power oppresses some, and humility frees others. Some people are ruled by an outside force, while others are controlled by the monster inside them. All lives are tied down. So, everyone should get used to their own situation, complain about it as little as possible, and hold on to whatever good is nearby. There is nothing so nasty that it can't make you feel better. Small boards like the writer's have frequently served multiple purposes, and a clever layout has made a very narrow piece of land livable. When you use your mind to deal with problems, you can make things easier for people who are good at carrying them. Tough situations can be made easier to handle, and small restrictions can be made bigger. If you lost control because you were angry, know that you have not only done something bad, but you have also made the habit stronger and added fuel to the fire. If you give in to a physical desire, don't see it as a single loss. Instead, see it as a sign that your bad habits have grown stronger. Habits and abilities are always changed by the things that go with them. For example, someone who has had a fever is not in the same health state as before, even after giving up the fever. Like with physical illnesses, mental illnesses leave behind scars and blisters that can't be completely erased. If these aren't completely erased, future hits to the same spot will not only leave blisters, but also sores. If someone tells you that someone is saying bad things about you, don't try to explain what was said. Instead say, "He didn't know about my other flaws, otherwise he wouldn't have mentioned only these." Don't you know that a good man doesn't do things just to look good? He does them because they are right? If you want to learn something, live like you're going to die tomorrow. Anyone can learn from their own mistakes, but only fools do. Smart people learn from other people's mistakes. You will find your way if you light someone else's lamp. You are further along in life than most people if you can be happy and do what you love. Don't mess up everything when your work talks for itself. When you leave your safe zone, you make progress. I've learned that while people who make negative comments about someone's bad luck frequently cause pain, those who choose silence cause even more. Someone who is cocky always puts things and people down, and when they do that, they can't respect what is higher than them. You shouldn't do or say something if it's not suitable or honest. Be in charge of your urges. Words that are mean to you may hurt, but silence breaks your heart. When someone is ignorant, when they have accomplished something, and when they are deeply disappointed, an intelligent person never shows emotion. We always respect things that we don't fully understand. If you want people to like you, don't say nice things about yourself. We only find comfort in distractions when bad things happen, but they are also the worst things that can happen to us. To figure out what life is all about, one has to dream. There are much better things ahead than what we leave behind. We are born again every morning. The most important thing is what we do today. Don't look for safety anywhere else but yourself. Before you talk, you should always ask yourself, if what you have to say is true, important, and kind. We are the only ones who can save ourselves. No one can, and no one can. We have to show the way. Living in the present with wisdom and seriousness is the key to good mental and physical health. Don't dwell on the past or worry about the future. With each drop, the jar fills with water. In the same way, the wise man fills himself with good things one at a time. Nothing is more rebellious than a mind that isn't trained, and everything is more obedient than a mind that is. If you can't find anyone to help you on your spiritual path, go it by yourself. Don't look for peace outside. It's inside you. Kindness is important for everyone, rich or poor. Everyone is going through something. Some people suffer too much, while others don't suffer enough. If you're compassionate but not toward yourself, it's not complete. But hate doesn't end with more hatred. Only love can end hatred. This is the endless one. Thoughts are the worst things that can happen to you. Without a God in heaven, there is no difference between East and West. People make up differences and then think they are real. When other people need help, we don't help them. Who will help us? Kind words, a giving heart, and a life of work and kindness are what make people new. To become wise, you need to take things away every day. To become knowledgeable, you need to add things every day. People who know don't talk, and people who talk don't know. Close your mouth, stop your feelings, make yourself less sharp, loosen up, ease your gaze, and clear the air. This is the basic identity. Be like a towel. It can't come close or pull away, help or hurt, honor or shame. It's always given up, which is why it lasts. If you do nothing, things will change on their own. Get rid of your body and form, your ears and sight, and the idea that you are a thing among other things. Then you might be able to join the great connection with the deep and boundless. There is something more important than an idea that stays an idea and is never put into action. The world was happy when you were born because you cried. Do things in your life that will make the world cry and make you happy when you die. One day, the years of hardship will look like the most beautiful times in your life. People who are hard to love are the ones who need it the most. Work on the things that scare you. You can do anything you can dream of. Don't look for praise unless you want to know you can do better. It's better to keep quiet and be seen as stupid than to speak out and clear up any confusion. It's not about success or loss. What matters is the guts to keep going. Plenty of time for everyone who wants to use it. There aren't many people who think because it's the hardest thing to do. Use what you have to the best of your ability. Everybody loves themselves more than other people, but we care more about what they think than what we think. Let's give thanks and stand up. We didn't learn much, but we did learn a little, and we didn't get sick, so that was good. We didn't die, even if we did get sick. Let's be thankful. Everything about us comes from the ideas we have had. It is built on and made up of our thoughts. People who think or act in a bad way will suffer, just like the wheel follows the hoof of the animal pulling the cart. Happy thoughts follow a person like a cloud that never goes away when they speak or do something. Getting angry and then throwing it at someone else is like picking up a hot coal to hurt them. You get burned. Every moment is different. Every day is different. Every life is different. Stay where you are, or you'll miss out on life. Being kind shouldn't be an extra, it should be the norm. Anyone who can get angry will become your master. He can only get angry if you let him bother yourself. If you try, nothing is impossible. When you follow time, it moves slowly. It feels like you're following it. A dream is not a goal without a plan. The present moves quickly, the future takes a long time, and the past will never move again. To learn to understand is the best thing a person can do, because to understand is to be free. Write down the bad times in sand and the good times in stone. Do the things that say, "For tomorrow today." Love your friend as much as you love yourself. Do not judge how great you are by the length of your shadow at dusk. Don't talk over your enemy when he's making a mistake. It's not possible to be friends with everyone. It's better to break a promise than to not make one at all. Both optimists and pessimists make the world a better place. An optimist invented the airplane, and a pessimist invented the parachute. A woman's guess is much more likely to be right than a man's confidence. All bad comes from ignorance. If you're not happy with small things, you won't be happy with anything. The shade is like a strange person on a sunny day. Don't run away, because he won't. If you look for it on a cloudy day, you won't find it. To answer a question, you must first understand it. What we know is a drop. What we don't know is a huge ocean. Change the world by being the change you want to see. It's not perfection when there's nothing more to add, but when there's nothing more to take away. Being mature leads to simplicity. The one who rules over the past rules over the future, and the one who rules over the present rules over the past. When you're strong, look weak, and when you're weak, look strong. It costs money to waste time. Writing down that you need to remember something will help you forget it right away. At some point or another, everyone is served a feast of repercussions. What makes something a gift is not what it is done or given, but what the person giving it wants to do. When you're scared, you act like a human, but when you want something, you act like an immortal. If a sailor doesn't know where he's going, the wind is against him. You never think about how weak you are because you live as if you were meant to live forever. It seems like you waste time like you have a lot of it. But maybe the day you give to someone or something is your last day. Your mind is the color of your thoughts. Living with anger and dislike toward the world we live in, its people, its cultures and practices that rise and fall, and its past and present, seems to do more harm than good most of the time. Things are the way they are, not the way we want them to be. There is a lot of internal reluctance that can make us suffer when we try to change the world around us to fit our ideas of how it should be instead of accepting it as it is. The pushback is stronger when reality is farther away from what we expect. Learn to love life and everything that comes with it. The Stoic idea of amor fati says this: love fate. It's what makes it possible for us to live and experience life. Attachment is at the heart of pain. It's up to you to find your world and then give yourself completely to it. No fire is as fierce as passion, no shark as mean, no trap as stupid, and no flood as huge as greed. Keep your mind on the present. Don't dwell on the past or dream about the future. Happiness will never come to people who don't value what they have. Really, really deeply down, what you are is just the structure and fabric of life itself. In the present, which is all there is, I have come to understand that the past and the future are just dreams. You are a way for the world to look at and learn more about itself. Put yourself in the middle of change, move with it, and join the dance. Every day, a scholar tries to learn something new, but every day, a Buddhist student tries to forget something they have learned. You can learn to understand how linked everything is by going to a bush very far away and being very quiet. That's what hermits know. It makes me less aware of the moment if I think about the past and the future. I should start to question whether I am really living in the real world. The point of life is always found in the present moment. This is what meditation teaches us. There is no Zen on top of the peak. Only the Zen you bring with you. If you want to clear up muddy water, it's best to leave it alone. Every smart person wants to know what makes them tick, but they are both amazed and annoyed by the fact that knowing oneself is the hardest thing to do. Problems that won't go away should always be thought of as questions that were asked in the wrong way. And the same is true for guilt. If you don't feel any guilt, you will feel much less worried. If you say that making money is the most important thing, you will waste your whole life doing things you don't want to do just to stay alive, which is stupid. To avoid being unhappy for a long time, it is better to live a short life full of things you enjoy. Life's events, good and bad, only last for a short time. You can't just choose to be happy, you have to work for it. It is springtime in the year 2024, and the world really does look dark and hopeless from this point of view. It's good to remember, though, that hard times are normal, and that people have dealt with much bigger problems in the past. We can find solace and hope in human resilience, or the capacity to change and get through difficult times. Even though everyone has their own problems, there is a sense of community and relationship that can help us all work toward a better future. When things are tough, it's important to remember that we're not alone and that we can get through anything that stands in our way. Philosophy is how people show their interest in everything and try to make sense of the world, mostly by using their minds. Unfortunately, amor fati is often confused with a defeatist and passive acceptance of the world around us, where we don't fight back when we see things happen that we don't agree with, or when we see unfairness happen. But I think this is a wrong way to understand the Stoic idea. To accept reality, you don't have to give in to it. You just have to learn to look at it calmly and accept that this is how things are right now. That is, being able to see things clearly without letting our own biases and assumptions cloud our view. By doing this, we can see things more clearly without our own biases and assumptions getting in the way. By doing this, we can better see what we can control and what we can't. We can then use what we can control to make positive changes, first in ourselves and then, if possible, in the world around us. Not being in a different place is what you need to get away from the things that bother you. This is what you need to do. Real happiness comes from living in the present and not worrying about what will happen in the future. Being happy with what we have is enough. We shouldn't keep ourselves busy with hopes or fears. Someone who feels this way doesn't want anything. The biggest lies people believe are inside of them and easy to grasp. A smart person is happy with their life as it is and doesn't wish for what they don't have. What's stopping us from saying that having a free, high, confident and steady mind is what makes life worth living? Fear and desire can't affect this mind. It sees virtue as the only thing that is good, and baseness as the only thing that is bad. It sees everything else as just a bunch of small things that come and go without making or breaking happiness. Whether he wants to be or not, this kind of man will always be joyful, and it will come from deep within him. He finds joy in his own resources and doesn't want any bigger joys than the ones that come from within himself. Ask yourself why someone hurt you when they did something. Once you know what he thinks is right and wrong, you'll feel sorry for him and no longer be amazed or hungry. If his idea is like yours, you will have to forgive him because you would have done the same thing he did in the same situation. However, if you don't agree with his ideas of right and wrong, it will be easier for you to look past their flaws. In a moral model, being wealthy doesn't mean having lots of stuff. It means not wanting much. First, tell yourself what you want to be, and then do what you have to do. Don't explain your philosophy in words. Anyone who can make you angry is your master. He can only make you angry if you let him bother you. Stopping to worry about things we can't change is the only way to be happy. If something outside of you makes you feel bad, it's not the thing itself that's hurting you. It's how you think about it, which you can change at any time. Expectation, which holds on to tomorrow and wastes today, is the biggest thing that keeps people from living fully. When you worry about things that are out of your control, you give up on things that are in your control. What are your thoughts on? What do you want to achieve with your efforts? There is a lot of doubt about the future, so live right now. Man is not made by circumstances. They only show him to himself. Don't try to change the way things happen. Instead, accept them as they are. Then everything will be okay. It's important to avoid things that make you more likely to get angry if you don't want to be that way. Keep quiet at first and think about all the times you weren't mad. I used to get mad every day, then every other day, then every 3 days. If you can go 30 days without getting mad, make a gift to the gods to show your appreciation. When you have trouble getting out of bed, say to yourself, I have to go to work like a human being. What am I complaining about if I'm going to do what I was born to do, the things I was brought into the world to do? Or is this what I was created for? To curl up under the covers and keep warm? Until we have begun to do without them, we don't realize how unnecessary many things are. We have been using them, not because we needed them, but because we had them. My advice: is this really what we hear philosophers say and what we find in their writings? It should apply to our pursuit of the happy life. We should look for their useful teachings and spirit-filled, noble expressions that are capable of immediate practical application, not exaggerated, archaic expressions or extravagant metaphors and figures of speech, and learn them so well that the words become works. No one, in my opinion, disappoints mankind so much as those who study philosophy as if it was some sort of marketable skill and then proceed to live quite differently than they tell others to live. It doesn't matter what you endure, but how you endure it. You could give up on life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. The main task in life is simply this: to identify and separate the issues so that I can clearly tell myself which things are external and not under my control, and which have to do with choices that I actually control. Where then do I look for good and evil? Not in uncontrollable externals, but in myself, in the choices that are mine. True happiness is enjoying the present without anxious dependence on the future. We do not amuse ourselves with hopes or fears, but are satisfied with what we have, which is enough, for he who is like this desires nothing. Do not look for everything to happen as you wish it to happen, but rather wish for everything to happen as it really will happen. Then your life will flow well. Taoism is the art of being in the world because it deals with the present, ourselves. It is in us that God meets nature, and yesterday separates from tomorrow. The present is the moving infinitude, the legitimate sphere of the relative. Relativity seeks adjustment. The you is art. The art of life lies in a constant adjustment to our environment. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize that nothing is missing, the whole world belongs to you. No person has the power to have everything he wants, but it is in your power not to want what you don't have and to use cheerfully what you do have. You will earn everyone's respect if you start by earning respect for yourself. Don't expect to encourage good deeds in people conscious of your own bad deeds. The greatest discovery of any generation is that a human being can change his life by altering his attitude. Excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. More often we are frightened by what we hear than by what actually happens, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Man conquers the world by conquering himself, not on external events. Realize this, and you will find strength. If it is not right, don't do it. If it is not true, don't say it. You should live in such a way that there is nothing you cannot say to your enemy as easily as keeping it to yourself. Awakening to who you are requires letting go of who you imagine yourself to be. The man of high principles should care more about the truth than about what people think. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen more than we speak. The impediment to action advances action. What gets in the way becomes the way. Don't promise twice what you can do once. A man who has made a mistake and does not correct it is making another mistake. He who has a why to live for can endure almost any how. Remember 2 things. 1, that everything has always been the same and keeps repeating itself, and it does not matter whether you see the same things repeat themselves in 100 years or 200 or in an infinite period. 2, that those who live the longest and those who will die the soonest lose the same. The present is all they can give up, for it is all they have, and what they do not have, they cannot lose. There are misfortunes that strike the sage without incapacitation, of course, such as physical pain, illness, the loss of friends or children, or the catastrophes of his country when it is ravaged by war. I grant that he is sensitive to these things, for he does not impute to them the hardness of rock or iron. There is no virtue in enduring what one does not feel. They say that there is this difference between the mind of a foolish man and that of a wise man, that the fool thinks that such visions are in fact as frightful and terrifying as they seem. With the original impact on his mind, and by his assent, he approves such ideas as being worthy of fear and confirms them. But the wise man, after being affected for a short time and slightly in color and expression, does not ascend, but retains the firmness and strength of the opinion he has always held about visions of this kind, namely, that they are by no means to be feared, but excite terror by a false appearance and vain alarms. Do you not know that life is like a military campaign? One must serve in the guard, another in reconnaissance, another on the front line. So is life for us. Of each person it is a kind of battle, and a long and varied one. Moreover, you must be on guard like a soldier, and do whatever you are ordered to do. You have been posted to a key position, not a lowly place, and not for a short time, but for life. Do not seek to make events happen as you wish, but wish for events to happen as they do, and your life will run smoothly. The main task in life is simply this: to identify and separate issues so that I can clearly tell myself which are external things that are not under my control and which have to do with choices that I actually control. So where do I look for good and evil? Not in uncontrollable externals, but in myself, in the choices that are mine. One must seek virtue for its own sake, uninfluenced by fear, hope, or any external influence. Besides, that is what happiness consists in. What is your art? To be good. And how is this achieved? Well, except for general principles about the nature of the universe and others about the proper constitution of man, in our control is the most beautiful and important thing, the thing by which even God himself is happy, the proper use of our impressions. We must absolutely concern ourselves with the things that are under our control and entrust the things that are not under our control to the universe. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the principles and notions they form about things. It is the act of an ill-instructed man to blame others for his own bad condition. It is the act of one who has begun to be instructed to blame himself, and of one whose instruction is complete, neither to blame another nor himself. Ultimately, man should not ask himself what is the meaning of his life, but rather recognize that it is he who is asked. In a word, every man is questioned by life, and can only respond to life by responding for his own life. To life he can only respond by being responsible. Let your eyes see what they see, not what others want you to see. Let your ears hear what they naturally hear, not what others want you to hear. Let your mouth speak freely what you think, without being constrained by other people's approval or disapproval. Let your mind think what it wants to think, and do not allow other people's demands to dictate your thoughts. If your senses and mind cannot do what they naturally want to do, you are denying them their rights. When you cannot think, feel, or act freely, then your body and mind are wounded. Break these oppressions, and you will cultivate life. Be careful what you water your dreams with. If you water it with worry and fear, you will produce weeds that choke the life out of your dreams. If you water it with optimism and solutions, you will cultivate success. Always be on the lookout for ways to turn a problem into an opportunity for success. Always be on the lookout for ways to nurture your dreams. The nature of life is change. From the earliest changes in the universe, the simplest elements came together to produce clouds and then solid bodies. Bodies that began to form the first ingredients for life. Those ingredients formed life, the cycle of birth and death, until eventually they came together in the exact configuration needed to create you and me as the beginning, peak, and end of a wave. Our lives are simply part of a larger cycle. We form, experience, and end. And with our end comes the opportunity for the reconfiguration of our atoms to allow another to come and go and enjoy the experience of life, and so on forever. The nature of the whole universe is change, from the largest to the smallest. Lives are often improved not in the accomplishments of lofty goals or in the collection of expensive things, but rather in the small daily changes in one's habits, the decisions to get up a little earlier, leave the house a little more often, go for a run, read that book that has been collecting dust, or try to be more present in the company of the things and people we love. While big accomplishments also contribute to this, habits built over time, not short bursts of joy, are often the ones toward a happier life. There is a delicate balance when looking to the future and the past. The future is necessary for long-term planning and preparation for events that seem likely. However, if we look too far into the horizon, it is easy to let life pass us by and miss what we have been planning and preparing for. Similarly, the past can be used as a tool for learning, but looking back to what was means you miss out on the life in which you have carried all the lessons of the past. The future can be used to plan and prepare. The past can be used to learn, but life only happens in the present. When I meet death, as we all must, the time and place will be largely out of my control. If it is tomorrow, then I will die tomorrow, and if it is a year or 20 years from now, then I will meet it at that time. It is of the very nature of a living being to die, no matter how much we resist it. However, for now, I am alive. So I will use what is in my control and decide what to do with the time I have been given. I am neither consoling you nor minimizing your misfortune. If fate can be beaten with tears, let us weep over it. Let every day be spent in mourning, every night spent in sorrow instead of sleep. Let your breast be beaten by your own hands, your face be attacked by them, and every kind of cruelty be practiced for your grief, if it will benefit you. But if the dead cannot be brought back to life, no matter how much we beat our breast, if fate remains fixed and immovable forever, unchangeable by any pain, however great, and death loses its hold on nothing that has been carried away, then let us put an end to our futile mourning. Then let us steer our own course and not allow the force of our misfortune to carry us to leeward. He is a poor pilot who lets the waves snatch the helm from him, who lets the sails go loose and abandons the ship to the storm. But he who bravely grasps the helm and clings to it until the sea covers him deserves praise. Though shipwrecked, never let the future disturb you. You will meet it if necessary, with the same weapons of reason that today arm you against the present. Strength must always be supplemented with gentleness. If you resist too much, it will break you. So the strong person knows when to use force and when to yield. Good fortune and disaster depend on whether you know how and when to yield. Those who do not know how to suffer are the worst. There are times when all we can do is endure our difficulties until a better day. To solve a problem, you need to eliminate the cause, not the symptom. Knowing and thinking we don't know is the crown. Not knowing and thinking we know is the affliction. Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Thinking about the past and anticipating the future is not the same as living in the present. Living is the exercise of being present. Life is a constant succession of events. Life is change, movement, growth, decline, pain, and joy. Accept the reality of life as it is. Don't run away from uncomfortable things. Character development requires facing and overcoming challenges. Believe in yourself. You are stronger than you think. You are braver than you think. Don't let fear stop you. Fear is only an illusion. The only way to overcome fear is to face it. Have courage. Life is short. Don't waste your time on things that don't matter. Focus on what really matters. Live your life to the fullest. Do what makes you happy. Do what you are passionate about. Be authentic. Be yourself. Don't worry about what others think. Don't live your life to please others. Live your life for yourself. Be the best version of yourself. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Dream big. Pursue your dreams. Work hard. Never give up. No matter how many times you fall, get up one more time. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. What matters is having the courage to keep going. Believe in yourself. Believe in your dreams. Believe in your ability to achieve anything you set your mind to. You are stronger than you think. You are braver than you think. Don't let fear stop you. Don't let fear stop you from living the life you want. Live with courage. Live with passion. Live with purpose. Live life to the fullest. Live with no regrets. Live without fear. Live with love. It is strength to master oneself. It is true power. If a branch is too rigid, it will break, resist, and perish. To know how to yield is to survive. Only he who has no use for the empire is worthy of being entrusted to it. At the core of your being, you have the answer. You know who you are, and you know what you want. Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Do not resist them. That only creates sadness. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in the direction they prefer. Kindness in words creates trust. Kindness in thought creates depth. Kindness and generosity create love. A person with mind is bound to be full of concepts. These concepts prevent him from knowing things directly, so a person with mind will never really know. No amount of anxiety makes any difference in anything that is going to happen. Be content with what you are, and do not wish for change, nor fear your last day, nor long for its coming. Consider that before long you will be no one and nowhere, and nothing that you see now will exist, nor those who now live, for all things are formed by nature to change, transform, and perish, that other things in continuous succession may exist. In a word, if there is a God, all is well, and if chance rules, do not be ruled by it. So I look for the best, and am prepared for the opposite. Whatever happens is sacred, natural, not novel or unwieldy, but familiar and easy to handle. There is only one way to achieve happiness, and that is to stop worrying about those things that are beyond the power of our will. The flourishing life cannot be achieved until we moderate our desires and see how superficial and ephemeral they are. No man is free unless he is master of himself. Wealth does not consist in having great possessions, but in having few needs. Whoever does not consider what he has as ample wealth is unhappy, even if he owns the world. When your thoughts, words, and actions form a continuous fabric, you simplify your efforts and eliminate worry and fear. It is time to stop being lazy if you wish to be an extraordinary person. If you wish to be wise, you must explicitly identify the kind of person you aspire to be. If you seek the truth, don't try to win a victory by any means possible, and when you have found the truth, you will not be afraid of being rotated. Let silence be your rule of thumb, or say only what is necessary and in a few words. Know first who you are and act accordingly. First, tell yourself what you would like to be, and then do what you have to do. Circumstances do not make the man, they only reveal him to himself. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is achieved by disregarding things beyond our control. We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. Don't explain your philosophy in the flesh. If you liked our video, like, subscribe and comment so that YouTube knows that these types of videos help people like you, and we can continue to create more similar videos in the future.